Off the ball. This is News Talk.
All right, you're welcome along to Thursday's Off the Ball. It's transfer deadline day.
Calm down, will you?
The dullest transfer deadline day of all time.
The most loneliest transfer day of all time.
The loneliness.
Loneliest.
Why?
Loneliest.
Loneliest.
Pretty much every deal is has left on loan until the end of the season.
I see what you're
as
doing
we'll
there.
get to.
I thought you meant there was a loneliness amongst
There
Premier
could
League
be.
footballers.
There could be a general ennui among the Premier League footballers.
Well, Richie is here to keep us up to date with all the breaking news. We had the main man himself, Jim White, on last year.
Yeah.
Didn't answer the call this time around, unfortunately.
He's a bit busy, Nathan. He's got the phone to answer.
That is just a random Scottish accent.
He's got the
Richie.
phone to answer to Fahad Moshiri.
Getting better. Getting better. That's Phil Egan laughing in the background. How are you?
All good, yeah.
Good. We got a busy show coming up. John Giles with us from 7:30. We'll be looking back on Liverpool's draw last night and on some of the deadline day moves. Coming up at 8 o'clock then, Conal Fennelly was in studio with us a little bit earlier on today to talk about Ballyhale's All-Ireland Club semi-final against Ballygunner, but also some really interesting stuff about his time in the Irish Army. That is coming up after 8 o'clock. We'll also look ahead to the Super Bowl, and then at 9 we'll have Kevin Kilban, Luke Edwards coming away on deadline day, and Phil will be with us as well, so you won't miss a thing. 53106 is the text number, at Off the Ball on Twitter. We're live on all our social channels as well. Phil, as Richie informed me last night, you're our resident Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, I was on my way home.
Just the one in the office, isn't it?
Just the one. But Phil,
I was on my way home last night listening in, as I always do, and Kev was keeping tight-lipped, but Richie had no shame.
No. I never did, to be honest.
Impartial.
It's a weird thing that sports presenters and football presenters aren't allowed to support a football club.
You are allowed. It's
You just have to...
For some reason, it seems frowned upon.
Well, Phil, you need to be like me. You need to, work on it a little bit. Work on your unbiased nature.
Well, Martin
People
Tyler-
tune into my commentary and they don't have a clue who I support.
I've actually been accused on several occasions of being anti-Liverpool.
Have you?
You see, that's the other thing. You're harsher on the club you support because maybe you care a little bit more. Hurts. You know a bit more about them. So it's okay to be... Were you very disappointed last night?
It was a tough watch. Just a tough watch. It was like, this is the end of January. And
Stressful. The end of January.
Virgil van Dijk, interesting comments about the atmosphere. He said, it didn't transmit to him. And he said, I don't think it transmitted to the other players, but it definitely did.
There's lots of things that don't affect Virgil van Dijk, I think, that affect many people around him.
Yes, like Joel Matip.
Yes. I've spoken about this before, and former Liverpool players are very keen to play down the impact and the pressure of the Liverpool supporters on the team. They seem to generally think it's a positive thing, that the momentum there. But I've been to Anfield quite a bit over the last few years.
And you get positioned near enough to where the fans are. You're not actually cloistered away from them. There's been a couple of years, and I know this from producing the Sunday show, is that you kind of have to watch where your mic is, because there's a lot of very mouthy and very...
There's no patience.
French-speaking...
the old commentary position, you used to actually be sitting beside the fans.
Oh, well, they were lovely people. They give us sweets in the middle of commentary. Yeah, they were lovely people. But the one thing you will notice at Anfield is the lack of patience among Liverpool supporters for the slightest misplaced pass, no matter who it is. Mo Salah gets the ball out in the right wing, he checks back inside, he loses it. Everyone's on his back. It's like, lads.
From pretty early in that second half last night, it was evident that group of fans were really, really edgy. To the point where, it was, midway through the second half, they were, getting on top of players who'd misplaced passes, chances were being groaned upon. And I was thinking, you're 1-1 against a really poor side in the Premier League. Well, not poor, but at least below average. You should be all right. You're going to get at least a point here and possibly a victory. Calm yourself down. Gareth
in Rialto says, last night wasn't a bottle job. Too early to press the panic button. Was it a bottle job last night? Do you think Liverpool underperformed because of the pressure? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit put out because I'm not sure what's going on with this new TV. It's like double me for anybody who's not watching on our social channels. We've had a TV here for about 18 months behind us that's suddenly been switched on, and as well as me being actually here, there's now a giant picture of me beside me as well. And Kevin Kilban.
I don't like it.
I don't like that picture either.
That's
not my hair.
Well, it is your hair. There's just a lot of it.
There's a lot of it.
I like their own pictures, though.
I don't think the colour is right.
Also, they could have photoshopped at least one of those chins off it.
There's only so much we can do.
Could have been a little bit generous.
There's only so much we can do, Nathan. There's only so much we can do.
Kevin Kilban there as well, coming up on the football show. So, Richie, Where are we starting?
We'll start with the Aviva Stadium today, where Joe Schmidt named his starting 15 and beyond for the opening Six Nations game with England on Saturday. He has opted to start Robbie Henshaw at fullback for that game. His selection of 15 means that Gary Ringrose and Bundy Aki continue their successful autumn partnership in the centre. Josh van der Fleer is partnered at open side, is preferred at open side, to his Leinster teammate Sean O'Brien. And with Jordan Larmour on the bench, there's no room in the matchday 23 for Rob Kearney, who Schmidt says wasn't sharp enough to play this weekend. John Cooney, meanwhile, could make a first Six Nations appearance off the bench. So the team in full is Robbie Henshaw at full back with Keith Earls and Jacob Stockdale on the wings. Ringrose and Aki, as we mentioned, in the centre. Jonathan Sexton and Conor Murray played together for the first time since June's third test with Australia. In the forwards, the front row of Cian Healy, Rory Best, the captain, and Tyke Furlong. Devin Toner is partnered by James Ryan in the second row. And in the back row, CJ Stander is flanked by Van der Fleer and Peter O'Mahony. Schmidt says the Henshaw call is not as left field as some may think.
He trained in November, a little bit of fullback, so he actually trained a little bit in Australia, so it's been something that has been an option for us for quite some time. And Rob ran out of time a little bit, and we like the flexibility of Jordan on the bench, covering a number of positions. I thought he came on really well last season against England, coming into 13 and having to play the last 35 minutes. So yeah, it's one of those things that we've seen as an option for quite some time, so it's probably not as much of a surprise to Robbie or the team as it maybe is to other people. More risk is lack of game time, full stop. He hasn't actually played that much himself. We got to a situation where we had a few different options there, and really we just felt the way he trained when we were away and the way he's trained this week, that it was worth pursuing. You know, maybe even as a longer term option, just with guys needing, when you get to go 31 to World Cup, you need guys who can be versatile, and it's probably a little bit of that, as well as Robbie being a good player and a recognised fullback anyway.
It was well flagged all week that this was the likely scenario. Robbie Henshaw hasn't played a full back for Ireland since his first cap, but has played quite a bit of rugby there, particularly when he was with Connacht. But from a Rob Kearney point of view, you've got to be a little bit worried now, especially when you hear Joe Schmidt talking about the 31 and the versatility that you need, because Henshaw has the versatility, Larmour on the bench has the versatility, Will Addison has the versatility, whereas Kearney is the best you would feel as an out-and-out 15. It might just cost him. But then in saying that, he's faced many, many challenges over the last 10 years.
He's stared down a lot of good players.
Seen them all off.
I think Rob Kearney will be okay for a place in the World Cup squad. Even listen to the way Schmidt talked about him this afternoon. He's working his way back to fitness. It should have been a flag the fact that he lined out against the Scarlets in the Pro 14 along with Jack McGrath, that possibly he wasn't going to be involved from the start this weekend, and that, you know, he's looking at him as being one of those players who's going to come in and start a couple of games down the line, much like Joey Carberry is almost certainly going to do at some point this Six Nations.
City, Liverpool, United, Spurs, Arsenal and Chelsea all struggled this midweek. It's been 10 days since the last league game. Players have switched off mentally and physically by 10%. It's also bloody freezing.
Yeah,
these guys are human. Eddie.
Warm weather training didn't work for Liverpool. They went to Dubai and then it was snowing last night.
Well, they should have gone to the Alps, shouldn't they? Is that what you're suggesting?
They should have gone to Siberia.
Right. You think that might have been the way forward?
And then last night would have been better. What did you make of them doing the pitch at halftime? Cleaning their...
That was asking for trouble.
Well, when I saw it happening, I was like, that is asking for trouble. All I can see happening here is Joel Matip trying to pass the ball back to Allison and it getting stuck in the snow. Teams do it all the time. You constantly go to Premier League grounds and at half-time and they're watering one half of the pitch. This was obviously more obvious because of the snow. Listen, it didn't work in their favour. I'm going to ask John Giles about it and see what he thinks. What do you think he'll think?
That doesn't make any difference, Nathan.
Maybe. Never mind Kearney. It's Kev Kilbane who should be worried about his position. Good to see Phil the Thrill in the big chair. Watch out, Kev from Lee.
Put your phone away, Phil. You're not allowed to text in the show when you're here. It's weird.
I wouldn't be able to multitask, trust me.
And what? Kev can?
No, Kev definitely can't. I think that's been proved by his absence tonight.
Yeah, well, enough about that. Lads, the Arsenal team that went unbeaten in 03-04 had 58 points after 24 games, while Liverpool have 61 after 24, says David in Clonee. But that is the other side of this. Liverpool, in a weird way, aren't getting a huge amount of credit for a just ridiculous start to the season because everybody's waiting for the fall. Nobody's actually appreciating the brilliance that's been there.
And it's because Manchester City have almost been in lockstep with them so far, and then you have Spurs after last night's win who are just 2 points off City as well, and possibly aren't out of that conversation if they can get players back fit and keep winning while they aren't. It's going to be an interesting last couple of months.
Colin Fennelly, as I said, is coming up after 8 o'clock. Some really interesting stuff out of him from his time in the army. He left about 8 months ago. Just really didn't enjoy it at all. Said it was just boredom, absolute boredom. There was zero job satisfaction. Spoke about his time in the Lebanon, spoke about his time in the barracks, and just found that it was not satisfying at all. It was a means to an end. He did it because he got a paycheck at the end of the week and could concentrate fully on his hurling. And we're getting a big response from people who've been in the army, from people on the outside, particularly with the current strike that's going on with the nurses, and maybe what they're having to put into their job compared to what those in the army are putting in for similar pay in their job. Now, obviously, this is one man's experience, but do get in touch. You can watch that already up on our social channels, but it's coming on the radio from 8 o'clock. 53106 is the text number. The England team in as well?
Yeah, Manu Tuilagi making his first start for them since the summer of 2014. He'll be partnered in the centre on Saturday by Henry Slade. Owen Farrell's shaking off a thumb injury to take his place at out half with Ben Youngs at scrum half. Elliot Daly gets the nod at full back with wings Johnny May and Jack Noel. In the pack there are Six Nations debuts for Mark Wilson and Tom Curry, while Mako and Billy Vunipola both start together for England for the first time this season. Eddie Jones has been explaining the selection of Tuilagi.
We obviously wanted to pick Ben Teo. The other option we had was moving Owen to 12 and George to 10. Just feel for this game the best option is to play Owen at 10, and a like for like with Benny Teo with Manu, and Manu's impressed us at the training camp and is right to play. It's nice to have Mako and Billy back. Mako is obviously a world-class loose head. Missed him during the autumn series, but he's come back and he's in good nick, and he's really committed to be the best he can be. And Billy, we haven't had him for a long time. At one test in South Africa, I think over the last 2 seasons, he's come back, he's in great nick, he's ready to play well for us.
Former Ireland lock Donnacha Ryan was on this morning's OTB AM and was asked if he sees Ireland's Grand Slam defence hitting an immediate stumbling block on Saturday.
I imagine Joe would be putting that scenario of the last time they played England was in Twickenham and lifting the Grand Slam, and obviously Joe is fantastic at putting a scenario in play where to challenge to channel the focus of the players. Like he knows he has the system. Is just to get the mindset right, to get the focus right and the concentration, and because once Ireland can do that, and you can see what they did against New Zealand, is that you just saw a real measured performance. Just even some of the plays that weren't probably on some of the plays, but they literally, just the players themselves made them work as well because they were so focused. And Joe, I think he's a seasoned pro at this stage.
Did Eddie Jones not have a pop at any stage?
I don't think so, no.
Eddie.
No, I think he's calmed down a little bit.
Bloody hell, I live in Russia and we play rugby in -12, -20 degrees. From Yeston Milburn, who's watching on YouTube.
Does he play for NSI? Remember when Connacht
got stuck there for about 3 weeks and couldn't get back home. That was a unique team bonding experience, I think, that saw them kick on from there and
definitely worked in
dominate the Pro 14.
Yeah, they did, certainly did that season.
Let us know, Yeston. It's spelled L-L-E-S-T-Y-N.
Yeston, yeah.
Yeston. Yeah.
There you go. Less than 4 hours to go. Come on. In the English transfer window.
So closes at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. You slam shot, Nathan.
Big Ben.
Once you hear that dong of Big Ben, you know. Newcastle have completed the day's biggest deal. They've broken their transfer records.
Whoa. Every time you hear that noise, it means a big deal has been completed.
How much did you pay for that sound effect, JP? A lot of money, he says. Newcastle broken their transfer record for the first time since 2005 with the £20 million capture of Paraguayan midfielder Miguel Almiron from MLS side Atlanta United. Joining him at St James's Park, Italian left-back Antonio Barreca, who joins on loan from Monaco. Please stop. Marouane Fellaini's time at Manchester United is at an end. The Belgian is heading for Chinese Super League side Shandong Luneng for a fee believed to be around £10 million.
Would Marouane Fellaini be called cult hero?
He would be now. He's entered that, you know...
In 3 years' time, people will look back fondly on the Fellaini era.
He represented everything that was wrong with both the Moyes and the Mourinho eras, but because he put in such honest shifts towards the end of his time there, people are like, no, he's all right. He's all right. Him and his pointy elbows are grand.
Yeah, better watch out for those elbows.
The biggest deal today at Old Trafford is the 5.5-year contract signed by Anthony Martial. Arsenal wrapped up the formalities of Denis Suarez's loan signing from Barcelona. The midfielder previously worked under Arsenal, but it's just really harsh. Unai Emery at Sevilla on their run to the second of 3 consecutive Europa League wins. Arsenal youngster Emil Smith-Rowe has joined RB Leipzig on loan until the end of the season. Several Irish players securing loan moves today. Graham Burke surprisingly has left Championship side Preston for League One strugglers Gillingham. Scott Hogan and Jake Doyle-Hayes have both left Aston Villa on loan for Sheffield United and Cambridge United respectively. And former Dundalk striker Dave McMillan swapped St Johnstone for fellow Scottish Premiership side Hamilton. That's also until the end of the season. But one Irish person signing a permanent deal today is former under-21 international Courtney Duffus. The former Waterford striker signed a 2.5-year contract with League 2 strugglers Yeovil Town.
The strap across the bottom was, what is the worst panic buy on transfer deadline day?
Andrew Carroll.
Yeah.
That was a great moment, though. I saw Owen Sheehan did a little run through transfer deadline day. 2011 was it? This day, 2011, when Liverpool bought Luis Suarez. Well, they bought him, I think, a day before, and then bought Andy Carroll.
He arrived in for the picture the same day as Carroll arrived in.
Like, that's what you want. That sort of absolute pandemonium. And like, it was only kicking off at around this time.
Yeah.
I think it was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was back in the day where you were just on the BBC website and that was pretty much the only place.
Yeah.
And it just came up randomly, Liverpool interested, 35 million, Andy Carroll. You went, as if.
I was just saying to Phil outside, the sheer lack of involvement of helicopters in this transfer deadline day has been notable.
Car windows, none of that.
Peter Adamwingie. Every time you hear a cash register ring, says JP, an agent gets his wings. That was a text. No, it wasn't. JP, you put
Stop
that
trying
in
to justify your own sound
by
effects,
yourself. Richie, that's all well and good, everything you're going through there.
Okay.
There's a lot of facts. I want idle speculation. I want a little bit of something I can get excited about for the next 3 hours. Something that might just happen. Something that nobody's expecting.
Do you know, I'd love
something to keep them coming back all the way to 10 o'clock.
Tom Huddleston to Udinese is a possibility.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's the biggest
Huddleston
left
at Hull,
field call.
is he? No, he's at Derby.
Derby County, yeah. So Udinese are apparently... Udinese have been linked with a couple of English-based players at least.
Could we start doing a bit of research here? Start send Shay giving a text there. Any truth in the rumour that Huddleston to Udinese? Like, if we could get one up on Sky Sports News, this could be the making and breaking of us.
I think we've got to aim higher, Nathan, to be honest.
It's higher than Sky Sports News and deadline day. The greatest deadline day ever was the day Manchester City were bought.
Oh, and
was that
Texas Shinawatra? Or
no,
the Dubai people?
The Dubai,
Yeah.
the Abu Dhabi people. And the strap along the bottom, I think, was that Manchester City, so this is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Manchester City are interested in signing Dimitar Berbatov, Rubinho and Lionel Messi. It's like, yes. This is I can get behind. So you have nothing. You have nothing for us at all, Richie.
Jesus. You know, Yuri Tielemans completing a medical at Leicester ahead of a loan move from Monaco.
It's a good move, isn't it? It's one of these deals that a year ago, Yuri Tielemans was one of the best young players in Europe.
He was. He's a Belgian international. He just hasn't done anything for Monaco this season, although that could be said of any number of players playing there this year. Adrian Silva heading the other way also on loan. Manchester City signing Croatian teenager Ante Palaversa from Hajduk Split. The 18-year-old midfielder has been immediately loaned back to the Croatian club until 2020. And the most unpopular man at Fulham, Abubakar Kamara, has moved to Turkish side Yeni Malatyaspor until the end of the season. The striker was recently banned indefinitely from all club activities after being arrested on suspicion of actual bodily harm and criminal damage at their training ground.
That could keep them up. That could keep
Just
them
the
up.
general vibe around the place.
The yoga sessions will be a bit more peaceful.
And Cardiff City have completed the signing of Leandro Bacuna, the Dutchman who can also play midfield. Moves to the Premier League club from Reading on a contract until 2023. And one deal, which is a kind of a dual swap.
Whoa, this should have been your lead story. Ring that bell.
Breaking news. Where's the cash register? Thank you.
No money was exchanged in this, though.
At 38 years of age, Peter Crouch is once again a Premier League footballer. He's signed on loan for Burnley with Sam Vokes heading to Stoke in his stead.
Well, I was making the point to John Walters that I thought, if they were searching for a ageing striker with a burgeoning media career, they didn't need to look that far.
Walters has already gotten involved in the banter with tweeting a picture of Deep Heat towards Crouchy. So
this is a great move.
Did I see?
Is Crouchy going to get in the Burnley team?
Manager? Is that going to be?
Wow.
His 17th different manager, and only one of them has been a partner.
Do you think Peter Crouch, with his new podcast, is just looking for more material to work with?
Looking for hashtag content.
He'll get a good little 6-month spell with Sean Dyche, and there'll be plenty of stories out of it.
Confirm if Sean Dyche does, in fact, eat worms.
Oh yeah, you'd love to see.
Good for protein.
You'd love to see Peter Crouch get a couple of goals.
He will, yeah. I definitely will, Crouchy. There's absolutely no doubt. And probably will keep them up at some stage as well.
I think they'll be all right.
Never know.
They'll be all right. So all the breaking news as it happens between now and 10 o'clock. And Richie,
Guaranteed.
if something big happens between 10 and 11, you're just going to dash straight into the Tom Gunn studio, say, give me my microphone back. But there's absolutely no sign of any of the top 6 doing anything. What about Spurs going after Tielemans?
No, he's already completed the medical. He's been pictured in Leicester gear.
Oh.
This thing is done.
Oof, right.
This one is done, Nathan.
Any talk of bottle is nonsense. 5 points clear, a draw against a well-organised team who won the tactical battle, not for the first time against big sides. And City actually lost, lest anybody forget, in the midst of an opportunity to slag off Liverpool.
It's taken 23 minutes and your earpiece has finally come out.
That was a record.
That is a new record for you. Well done.
Is there something wrong with my ears that my earpiece won't?
I just want to say just to annoy you.
All right. Anything else, Richie?
Ulster confirming the signing today of Australian international second row Sam Carter. The 29-year-old will join from the Brumbies in the summer. Carter's played 16 times for the Wallabies and was recently a vice-captain for his club side. Glasgow centre Sam Johnson will make his Scotland debut in their Six Nations opener against Italy on Saturday. Newcastle flanker Gary Graham and Leicester hooker Jake Kerr could also make their debuts off the bench. Hooker Fraser Brown, lock Johnny Gray and flanker Hamish Watson are among those missing through injury. For Italy, captain Sergio Paris will surpass Brian O'Driscoll's record of 65 Six Nations caps when he lines out at number 8 for the Azzurri. Michele Campagnaro returns to the wing for them, and Ian McKinley is on the bench with Tommaso Allen preferred at out half.
Surely Torres going from Liverpool to Chelsea on deadline day for 50 million was the worst deal ever. Kieran and Cork.
There's just something symbolic about how just ill-fitting. Because on paper,
Torres did score that goal in the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah, and on paper, Torres to Chelsea at the time looked like, he's a great striker, he's performing well. Chelsea bought one of the best strikers in the Premier League, if not the world, at the time. Whereas Andy Carroll's 35 million in 2011.
Scored a few goals in the Premier League, and that was just the ultimate panic.
Golf, Richie.
Yeah. Oh God, I think you're going to mention the podcast.
Oh, now that you mention it.
Oh no.
No, you can give your results first.
All right, grand. Paul Dunn is 5 shots off the lead following the opening round of the Saudi International. The Greystones man shot a 200 par round of 68 today. The lead there held by Belgium's Thomas Peters on 700 par, and he is 2 shots clear of a group of 5. Waste Management Phoenix Open is ongoing at the moment with 5 to play. Seamus Power is level par at the moment. The lead jointly held by the American duo of Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas, both of whom are playing the last, both of whom are 7 under par. Get on with your plug.
Since you brought it up, Richie, the latest Golf Weekly podcast is up on offtheball.com right now.
For people who are looking to sleep.
We're talking about the Saudi International and what a terrible event it is and how terrible 4 of the 5 leading golfers in the world are there. 4 of the top 5 in the world rankings have all turned up, are all getting a nice 7-figure sum for their troubles. That's before they even hit a ball. They've all got involved in the nice promotional videos saying, hey, come to Saudi Arabia. What could possibly go wrong?
The Bryson DeChambeau video I saw where he was speaking to the European Tour is particularly shameless.
Bryson essentially says, I'd like to thank the European Tour for the opportunity to grow the game here in Saudi and to Saudi Arabia for showing us what an exciting place this is, like opening their arms to the world and inviting us in to show the beauty of this country. I thank Saudi Arabia for this.
Well, then again, in fairness, the last year or so has shown that if Bryson was to actually be critical of Saudi Arabia, what would happen if he turned up on their ground and would go from there? His clubs might be used against him, put it that way.
Anything else?
They're all the same length as well, aren't they? His clubs.
I thought you were going to say Saudi Arabian people. Anyway, moving on. At the Waste Management Fees Open, as I said, their Seamus Power level par and 7 under is the lead mark there. Aaron Connolly, Brighton's faith in the Republic of Ireland under-19 striker, has been underlined with a new contract at the Amex. The Mervy Youth Product signed a 3.5-year extension there. Scott Brune has signed a new contract extension with Scottish Premiership champion Celtic. The deal will keep the midfielder at Parkhead until 2021. Brown's won 8 league titles, 5 league cups, 4 Scottish Cups and a partridge in a pear tree since joining in 2007.
Very good, Richie. You'll be back across the evening with all the good stuff.
Smooth.
Possibly. Phil, you're going to pop in during the football show as well. Give us your hot takes and all the latest deals.
I've been doing some research on some of these new signings. When I say research, I mean I've been looking at YouTube, and
they all look great.
This Almiron lad, he could be the next Asaidi.
All right, well, you can come in with maybe you can do your top 5 deadline day signings from YouTube videos alone.
Okay.
All right, so that's coming up after 9. Kevin Kilban, Luke Edwards as well on what's happening at Newcastle. They've broken their transfer record. Is it enough to keep Rafa until the end of the season? We have got a competition as well all this week, Off the Ball, teaming up with the Irish Blood Transfusion Service to get people talking about the importance of blood donation. 1 in 4 of us will need a transfusion in our lifetime, so this could be you, someone in your family, a friend or a neighbour. For more details on how to give blood, get onto offtheball.com/IBTS or go to giveblood.ie. Quick break. It's not a competition at all. Jesus. You win the chance to give blood. You should do it, though. You should do it. You'll feel like you're winning when you do this. You will absolutely feel the buzz you will get from giving blood. Well, it's like winning any prize. I'm telling you, you should do it.
Dig up. Dig up.
You should do it. I'm telling you, you should do it. I always feel good whenever I give blood, so go do it. JP said, get to a break quickly. John Giles is up next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
You Couldn't Make It Up is News Talk's bold and brazen panel show where news and comedy collide.
Excuse me, madam, we found 23 gerbils, and she's like, uh-oh.
This Saturday morning, Joe Rooney, Emma Doran, Patrick MacDonnell and Lisa Garvey pull apart the stories making the headlines and reassemble them into a pair of surreal and downright silly performances.
I've only smashed the Land Rover. Oh, our insurance is going to go right.
Your news will never sound the same again.
You Couldn't Make It Up with Pat O'Mahony.
In partnership with Tesco. Saturday mornings at 9:30.
On News Talk.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only.